I've been thinking about something lately. Something big, philosophical, emotional, maybe even a little messy. You know how occasionally you see a random couple holding hands and laughing like they've been together forever? And then someone says, "Oh, those two? They swear it was love at first sight." And it makes you wonder, is that actually real? Is love at first sight even possible? Or is it all just romantic storytelling we've absorbed from movies and novels?
That's an interesting question. And honestly, I'm not completely sure how I feel about it. On one hand, I've seen people instantly drawn to each other, like magnets. On the other hand, I think genuine love takes time. Time to understand, to grow, to build trust. Attraction at first sight? Absolutely. Infatuation at first sight? Sure. But love? That's where I hesitate.
So you don't believe it exists?
I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying I'm skeptical. I think a lot of people confuse an emotional spark or even physical chemistry with love. We're very quick to label feelings because labels give us certainty. They give us a narrative. Love at first sight sounds beautiful, poetic, and bigger than life. Attraction at first sight sounds like you saw someone cute.
Fair. But what if the spark really is love? What if some people genuinely feel something so powerful and immediate that it's unmistakable? Maybe it's rare, but rare doesn't mean impossible.
True. But before we decide, maybe we should break it down. What do we even mean by love at first sight? Because the definition matters.
Good point. I guess when people say love at first sight, they usually mean they felt something instantly, deeply, overwhelmingly positive, a kind of emotional certainty. This is the one, like a gut-level recognition.
But is that love? Or is that desire, hope, and projection wearing the costume of love? When I think of love, I think of something layered: compassion, trust, understanding, shared experiences, vulnerability. None of that can happen at first sight. It takes time.
Yes, but emotions don't have a time requirement. You don't need 3 months of data to feel something deeply. You can meet someone and feel like you've known them your whole life. You can feel safe instantly. Some people describe it like meeting a long-lost friend or a missing part of themselves.
That's still familiarity, comfort, connection. But love? Real love? As in the stuff relationships actually depend on, like patience and sacrifice. That's learned behavior, earned over time.
So you're saying love is a process, not an event.
Exactly. Or at least that's how I see it. What about you?
I think love can be both an event and a process. Maybe the first spark is the event, and everything after is the process. It doesn't mean you love someone completely at first sight, but maybe the seed of love is planted instantly.
That's actually a pretty fair way to put it.
Have you ever experienced anything close to love at first sight?
Not love, no. But I've had moments where I saw someone and felt something strong, almost electric, like an intuition, but that feeling never turned into a meaningful relationship. So in my case, it didn't pan out.
Maybe it could have with different circumstances.
Maybe, but if it fizzled out immediately, maybe the spark wasn't real love in the first place.
I've had something like it. Not exactly love at first sight, but there was this moment with someone where everything felt immediately aligned, like we were already synced. We hadn't even spoken yet. When we finally talked, it felt like we were continuing a conversation we'd started ages ago. That connection turned into a long relationship.
And was it actually love at first sight?
Maybe the early version of it. Not the complete version, but the beginning. If I'm honest, I felt something that first moment. It was different. Not just they're attractive. It was something emotional.
I'm not dismissing those experiences. I think those moments are real. But I still wonder whether we label them love after the fact because the story ended well or mostly well.
Maybe part of the question is psychological. Humans love stories. We love meaning. We want our relationships to feel special. So maybe people say love at first sight because it makes the story more magical.
Exactly. Our brains love patterns and significance. They also exaggerate in hindsight.
If a couple ends up married for 20 years, they might romanticize the first meeting. Suddenly it wasn't "I thought he was cute," it was "I knew it the moment I saw him." Memory is slippery.
But not all of it is exaggeration. Some research says the brain does make lightning-fast judgments about attraction and compatibility just based on facial cues, body language, even subtle expressions.
Sure, but attraction and compatibility aren't love. They're ingredients. If I handed you flour and water, you wouldn't say I gave you bread.
Point taken. But you could say you started baking at first sight.
Fair enough.
Let's look at this from a philosophical perspective. Some ancient cultures believed in soulmates, people whose souls recognized each other instantly. In that worldview, love at first sight isn't surprising at all. It's destiny.
And other cultures thought love was something that came after marriage, after partnership, after duty. In that worldview, love at first sight is nonsense.
So the entire question might depend on how someone defines love and what cultural lenses they look through.
Yes, and also how romantic they are. Some people crave the idea of instant love because it feels mythical. Others prefer slow, steady, grounded relationships that don't depend on sparks.
It's interesting how personality affects beliefs. Hopeless romantics versus realists.
I'm more of a realist, but not cynical. I think amazing connections can happen instantly. I just don't call them love.
There's also the biological standpoint. When you meet someone who fits your subconscious preferences, appearance, voice, scent, demeanor, your brain releases dopamine, norepinephrine, maybe even oxytocin. It creates a cocktail of, "this feels good."
Yes, but that's chemistry, not love.
But chemistry is part of love.
Only part. And it's the most unstable part. It's the part that fades.
True, but maybe love at first sight is like the match that lights the fire. It's not the fire itself, but you can't have the fire without someone lighting the match.
Unless you're rubbing sticks together for months.
Okay, campfire philosophy.
We also can't ignore how much movies and media influence our perception of love. Every romantic movie has that moment, the eyes meet, music swells, everything goes slow motion.
And then they fall in love effortlessly.
Exactly. But life isn't edited for dramatic effect. You don't get background music telling you this is the person. That's why I think love at first sight is often people trying to live up to what media told them to feel.
Or maybe movies reflect something real in human nature, something instinctual.
Or maybe movies gave us desires we wouldn't have invented on our own.
Here's a counter-argument. There are documented cases, real couples, who swear the moment they saw each other, something clicked, and they stayed together for decades. Are all of those people delusional?
I wouldn't say delusional, but feelings can be interpreted differently depending on outcomes. If the relationship failed after a week, they wouldn't call it love at first sight.
True. No one says it was love at first sight about their ex who ghosted them.
Exactly. Survivorship bias. Only the stories with good endings become love at first sight.
I think timing plays a huge role too. You can meet someone at a moment when you're open, hopeful, emotionally ready, and that openness might amplify the feelings you have when you see someone new.
Yes, and if you meet someone at the wrong time, even if they're perfect for you, you could feel nothing.
So maybe love at first sight is partly readiness at first sight.
That's a really good way to put it. I like that.
Let me ask you this. If someone came up to you and said, "I think I just met the love of my life," 5 minutes after meeting someone, what would you say?
I'd say slow down, not to crush their hope, but because early feelings can be misleading. I'd encourage excitement, but with a bit of caution. That said, I'd also support them. Everyone deserves hope.
So you're not anti-love at first sight, just cautious.
Exactly. I don't want people to build fantasies that set them up for heartbreak.
But sometimes fantasies come true.
True. And sometimes you get hit by a runaway shopping cart.
What a comparison. Do you think humans need the idea of love at first sight, not for literal accuracy, but for emotional meaning?
Possibly. Humans thrive on stories. Stories help us understand ourselves. The idea of love at first sight gives people hope that life can surprise them in extraordinary ways.
That's beautiful.
But hope is different from reality.
Reality can be beautiful too.
Yes, but usually in smaller, quieter ways.
I remember reading about older couples who said things like, I knew the second I saw her, and they've been together for 50 years.
But how do we know that's not just nostalgic rewriting? Memory changes with emotion. The longer you're in love, the more you romanticize the beginning.
But isn't that part of love, the romanticizing?
Yes, but that still doesn't make the original moment literally love.
Maybe literal truth doesn't matter less than emotional truth.
I can accept that. Emotional truth has its place.
Compatibility at first sight might exist, like when someone's energy matches yours immediately.
That I believe in. You can feel someone's vibe instantly, whether they're kind, warm, charismatic, confident. People radiate things. We pick up on them intuitively.
And then sometimes you just know.
But knowing is not love. Knowing is curiosity, attraction, maybe intuition.
But intuition can lead to love.
Yes, but that's still the process, not the moment.